Jesus Christ.
Fuck.
Someday you're going to figure that out, I promise.
You just hit a Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne drop.
Yes, I did hit that. Brick, you look different. It's a combination of the headphones and the glasses.
Thanks. And nothing about the weight loss? Cool. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, Brick.
Look, man, I see you like shoulders up. I'm sorry.
Brick, you just look weird, man.
Thanks.
Something about you, like a new feature, just looks really weird.
Yeah, no, my glasses are enormous. They're like half of my face now. And yeah, that's about it. Because I haven't really.
You always see when you're not paying attention and you're like scrolling through shit because the reflection is like perfect to be able to pick that up on.
Oh yeah, this could be like that's gonna be too specific of a reference. Never mind.
I'm just gonna see like a bunch of big butts in the reflection of your glasses and go.
Oh, what are you doing, Mark? Oh, I'm just looking at the political climate today. Oh, of those giant asses. Okay.
How is the weight loss going?
It's taken a bit of a dark turn as of yesterday, only because of my aggressive VR boxing. I fucked up my entire VR system. Because of that, I can't do an hour of actual boxing every day now. So it might take a little bit of a hit, but now I got to go, oh, there's my guy Frank, brick looking swole, sweet. But now, yeah, I have to go to the actual gym now. So that's a kill. 20 minutes away. And you have to like schedule a time to go and do it. Ugh. But I guess I need to actually work out too. So once I get back my cord, which is the part that I exploded off of my computer when I threw an aggressive left hook against the Reverend.
Wait, you broke your mic cord playing VR boxing?
No, that's a different cord that I think
both cords though.
A couple of different cords have been shattered in the recent week here. But I was boxing Rev, not Rev Rogue, but just the guy's name is Rev in the game. And I threw a nasty left hook. That Tom Hardy video that I posted on my Instagram got me all fired up from Warrior. Thought I had to go in there and
that video will get anyone fired up.
Absolutely.
Are you talking about the scene where he's like in the boxing gym and the guy's like, "Oh, you want to fight this guy who's like the top fighter," and he brings him in the ring to spar with him or whatever?
It's that one, but it's the one where he actually meets him in the octagon for the actual fight, and the guy's like talking shit, and all of a sudden Tommy just goes in there and just bonks him, and then busts open the gate and walks out, and everyone's like, "Gosh!"
I need to go back and rewatch that movie, but also let that be a lesson that you never overextend on your left hook.
Right?
Back on that hook. You don't let it get too far out in front of your face. Never.
I was trying to work on my left side because my right hook is lethal, dangerous, registered weapons hands over here. But my whole right side of my body was like, I was going to look like a freak by having all my right side looking good and my left side like pathetic. So I had to get back into the swing of things. No pun intended. Pun brutally intended.
Yeah. Mark, the pedo stash is gaining steam, I think.
Oh, yeah. I saw some of my buddies out yesterday, and we're all just growing the facial hair, and mine and specifically is probably top tier creepiness.
It's like a reverse Hitler. Like you have this little spot right here where you can't grow hair.
I had the grossest. What is this called right here?
Soul patch.
Soul patch. Yeah, I had to shave it. I was like, this is getting a little bit out of hand right now.
What does Kelly think of it? Is she a fan?
She's pretty much just given up on me.
That makes sense. You're about how many years of marriage now? 3. Yeah, you're at that point. That's fine.
Now I kiss Nolan's his chubby cheeks, and he just freaks the fuck out. I'm just like,
that's a good defense mechanism for him to have. If he feels a mustache on his cheek, freak out.
That's a good point.
I'm fully leaning into dad life. I bought a smoker. I'm going to smoke some meats this week. So
fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. What's going to be your first smoke sesh?
So I've been debating, and apparently, I would love to smoke a brisket, but apparently that's a little more complicated, and I should know more about the smoker and everything before I go and do that. So I'm thinking maybe just a few racks of ribs.
You should ask your boy Rob Lamaster out here. He's king smoke.
I've been talking to Tofty because he's from Texas, and obviously Texas.
What's the typical duration of a smoker? Is it like 8 hours?
6 to 8 if you're going to do like a big hunk of meat, like if you're going to do pork butt or something.
Yeah.
Because it's lower heat and you want the smoke to kind of be absorbed into the meat. I went and bought a bunch of hickory chips and stuff like that. So excited to see, how that turns out. Hopefully I can master it and actually share some meat. That'd be really cool. But
rank the types of barbecue. We've got Kansas City barbecue. We've got Carolina barbecue, Memphis, Texas. Am I missing one?
No, I'm sure you're not. Though. Well, you said Kansas City, right? Kansas City's pretty good. I like Texas barbecue because it is like I've gone places with Tofty in like Austin where it's just a literal, what looks like a giant campfire, and they're just smoking meats on it. And it's fucking amazing. Like I've never had better meat than that. So, and I've been to the Carolinas and had the barbecue there. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like the slow smoked, 12 hours of a guy who's 800 pounds.
Carolina's got them big boys too, man.
Tofty's been sending me videos of like recipes and shit, and it's always a huge fucking fat guy with like a really thick accent. I'm like, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense, because if some skinny blonde girl with a New York accent came on and was telling me how to smoke meats, I'd be like, no, that's
nope, this is just fake news.
I would have a bald barber. You wouldn't do that either.
That's true. Because what did he do to his hair? Or he's just went with the bald look like Wilpo chooses to do. He chooses to be bald.
Does he?
Yes.
He doesn't choose for his ass to be bald, obviously, but
who wants a bald ass?
Well, he lost a bet, so
that's true. I don't know. I think the worst barbecue is Kansas City barbecue. I've had all three of them. I think Memphis is up there. I like Carolina's tang. Gotta have that little vinegar tang.
And like the vinegar, yeah.
And then I'd go Texas because I haven't really had a good Texas barbecue, but it's like the standard barbecue, and they slow grill their meats. Not like if I'm doing it based off the sauce, I'm not like a Texas fan. But Kansas City just kind of rolls in on the L. It's on the last bar there.
Yeah, but
Kansas City, they already got the Chiefs.
If you have actual good smoked Texas meat, you don't need barbecue sauce.
Right. So that's more of a style rather than, I guess, more sauce then.
It's a lot more dry rub and stuff like that. So
what's a game changer for me, regardless of getting obviously good barbecue is a must have, but the place has got to have good sides. If it doesn't have good coleslaw or potato salad, I'm fucking out. You need some good sides.
Yeah.
Cornbread. I fucking love cornbread. Good cornbread. Moist cornbread.
Yeah, for sure.
Moist.
Moist. We apologize.
I think we're hungry.
I'm not anymore after you said moist several times.
Moist.
All right.
Moist.
I sent you guys a bunch of trailers this week.
Oh, fuck. I forgot.
Of course you did.
No,
I texted you earlier. The first one was the one that I want to talk about is the one I just sent you, the trailer for Eurovision, which is coming to Netflix in 2 weeks with Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams. So we had kind of a teaser for this before, but now that I see the full trailer and I see Will Ferrell in like full Will Ferrell character,
Icelandic weirdo character. Yeah.
I feel like maybe this is going to be a throwback to the Will Ferrell of old, where he's, in an over the top character and just making me laugh. What do you think?
Man, I feel like we haven't seen Will Ferrell in something in a long time. And now that he has that long hair, it just brings me back to Eastbound and Down. He's like, down to my plums. On top of Donna, heat turned up to 82 degrees. So I'm pumped for this. Like I said, I haven't seen Will Ferrell in something in a while, I feel like. So
Nicholas Hoult is in there too as kind of the antagonist. I don't know. Do you think Rachel McAdams has the comedic chops for this?
I think so. She was good in Game Night.
She was good in Mean Girls.
Yeah, that's like a normal person though. This is someone who is Icelandic and I don't know. I guess for lack of a better term, a weirdo. So we'll see.
I think she's good for the role. I think she's got some range to her. She's had some weird roles. I'm for it. But the song that they put out was an actual banger. That was the teaser that they had out. I was like, actual catchy. Come on now. I'm also excited to see what other performances and cameos that they have for this, because they're obviously, it's like a talent show in terms of like these musical acts around the world,
Mhm.
and I think they're going to have some very good cameos in this movie. Hopefully, or some weird acts. I'm for it too. I don't have the hopes that you do that it's classic Will Ferrell. That ship has sailed for me. I don't know if he's going to be able to get that back, but
Understandable.
I'm not exactly holding hope, but I am gonna watch it. To be real,
Got like a Pitch Perfect kind of vibe, except
exactly.
it has Will Ferrell in it.
Exactly.
Pitch Perfect on drugs, yeah. The other thing I'm not sure about is whether or not this was originally going to get a theatrical release or if it was going to go straight to Netflix. So that kind of depends on my outlook for it, because if it was going to get a theatrical release, obviously the studio had higher expectations. People who've seen it obviously know whether it is worthy of a weekend box office. So
how does that work when somebody like sells the rights to a movie to Netflix versus do they have to make a decision like, hey, do we want to just try to make money off of this by making it available on streaming platforms like Amazon?
Yeah.
Or do we want to just sell it for a flat amount? Is that what they're doing for Netflix? And
it's like most places will do like a 2-year contract, and presumably they can cover their costs of production. They don't have to worry about marketing it anymore.
Yeah.
But again, it generally doesn't happen for the best movies. The alternative for this is if it was just a Netflix movie, then Netflix studios produced it. So they never were going to take it there anyways. So I don't know the answer to that. I should do a little bit of research, but maybe next week.
Regardless, whoever is selling movies to Netflix, I think they're just trying to be a little bit on the safe side and not take as much risk, especially during these times, because there's always people pirating movies when you're streaming online. So I just think right now it's hard for these companies to make money off their movies that they're asking $20 for on Amazon,
I think that's the problem, is the price point. I don't know what it is, maybe $12. When we watched Guns Akimbo, it was $8. I was like, fuck yes, this is a steal.
Yeah.
So I don't know, $20 is exorbitant. That's more than I would pay for a ticket in the theater.
And that's the problem, is your people are assuming that you're watching it with multiple people. Therefore, you're splitting that cost.
Nobody likes me. Nobody wants to watch a movie with me.
Same. And plus, we're quarantined anyway. You shouldn't be hanging out with people. Technically, are we not quarantined anymore? What's going on? I don't even know.
Man, you're asking the wrong person. I don't have any fucking idea what's going on.
Cool. Yeah, whatever.
Everything's terrible, as you can tell by my background.
I can actually tell you because I went to Deuces in Wrigleyville yesterday, and so the outdoor patio is open and all the tables are spaced farther apart. And like the cabana area, they actually have like plexiglass between each cabana, and you have to be sitting. You can't stand up. They'll tell you to sit down. But once you get to your table, max 6 people at a table, you can take your mask off and drink. But if you go up to go to the bathroom or anything, you have to put your mask on, whether you're walking around or not. So
sounds like a real fun social time.
Yeah.
The things I would do right now to just be at a bar and hang out with people. Yeah, I get it. I get the desire to be there. TJ texted me this morning, was like, yo, come drink in Wrigleyville. I was like, I have a 1 week old baby and I haven't slept in a week. Like, I don't know who you think you're asking right now, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, Eric would have been thrilled. All right, see you later. Okay, go drink with the boys. He's a week. Yeah.
Mark, do they are they price gouging or anything, or is it normal?
I honestly don't know, because I mean we were out with TJ and they know TJ, and I feel like they were just kind of comping us some of our drinks. I didn't really look at the menu too much. Also, it's kind of funny. They don't give you menus. They don't want you touching menus and passing them back out to people. So what they do, or what Deuces did, was they have like business cards with a QR code on it, and you scan it and then it pulls up the menu on your phone. So it's just, I mean, all these bars are doing what they can to adapt to it, because I mean, Illinois is almost the strictest state right now with like their COVID regulations and everything. So, I mean, all these bars in Chicago are really being creative with what they're allowed to do. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Supposedly the phase 4 that's going to start in the beginning of July, they're going to allow people to actually start going into bars, and we'll see what that ends up meaning for us. So
would either of you feel comfortable doing that right now?
I don't feel comfortable being in a bar ever. I'm just a fucking homebody. I'm just like, ugh, these people. Ugh. I can't talk to you through my headset and play a game with you at the same time. Nope. Out. Peace. See ya.
No, my favorite story of you is when we were at Sluggers and you threw your phone number at a girl and ran away like a little child.
She texted me and I sent her a gif of me throwing. It was like the Doug Flutie bomb Hail Mary. She's like, let's bang. I was like, sick. Never happened.
That's exactly how that went.
Yeah, the fact that she texted me was actually hilarious because I was just like literally probably blacked out at that point. She asked me to like take a picture of her like and her friends, I guess, and we started talking a little bit, and then like we lost conversation. But I was like, "Fuck, I want to." That girl was hot, so I was threw my number on a napkin and just like Randy Johnson arm threw it as far as I could. Apparently, it landed.
Talk about shooting your shot. There you go.
Also, could have been somebody random that just found that in the napkin and just like texted me and trolled me. Who knows? Let's go with the former, though.
It's probably a big fat dude that was like bouncing at the bar.
Yeah.
All right. Trailers. Let's keep going. Bill and Ted Face the Music. First of all, I know we're a movie podcast, but I feel the need to ask. Have you guys seen the first two Bill and Ted movies?
No.
Not the second, only the first.
You guys are the worst.
Is that do we need to add that to the shame list, or is that just a movie like? That's kind of a teetering. People know it. It's a very popular film, apparently, or is it more of a cult classic?
It's more of a cult classic, but it's early Keanu, and also I feel like since there's another one coming out, we should probably add it to the list.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you guys even fill out your list? I feel like I'm the only one that filled out that list Brick made.
I haven't looked at it. You said you were going to do it last weekend, and I was in the hospital all weekend last weekend, so.
And Smithers didn't do it yet, so.
Yeah. Did you do it, Brick?
No, not yet. I thought we were going to add to the list. I wasn't sure. We only have like 69 movies on there.
All right. For our listeners, you probably have no idea what we're talking about. Brick is conjuring up a list of about 100 movies, and each of us are going through them and crossing off the ones we've seen. So whenever we lose points wise every week, the loser will actually, instead of seeing a terrible movie, assuming there's not going to be a terrible movie every week, we'll just choose one of the really popular movies from this list and watch it.
We need to check some of those off the list if we want to be considered a real movie podcast, which we don't.
We will never be considered a real movie.
But at least give us some, validity,
credibility
to a certain degree. Yeah, I've seen that. It's better than seeing Velocipasture.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the true cult classic, but yeah. Anyways, you guys watched this trailer, right? So we've got both Bill and Ted coming back. The plot from the original is obviously they get a time traveling phone booth and they meet George Carlin at the time. Rest in peace. But the idea is in the future, their band Wild Stallions writes a song that unites the entire world. So here we are, 25 years later or whatever, and they still haven't written it. And the council is like, why, explain yourself. Why haven't you fixed this yet? So they're going to go back into the future to steal from their future selves, who are very jacked and in prison.
Hell yeah. They look shredded.
Those are jack suits. Those are jack suits. They did them for like the Mountain Dew commercials when Travis Barker was huge because he went to jail and he was just lifting weights. Do you guys remember that commercial?
He went to jail?
There was a commercial for Mountain Dew. It's like if Travis Barker if Travis Barker never became a drummer, he would have became a jailhouse tattoo artist, and it's just him getting jacked as fuck. You never seen that?
But it sounds funny.
Keep talking. I'm going to find a picture of it. Him in the muscle suit.
Travis Barker weighing more than like 120 pounds.
You say mountain weird.
Mountain?
He like really emphasizes the T.
Mountain
Dew.
I say a lot of shit weird, man.
Yeah, you kind of do. Rick, while he's looking that up, does this entice you at all to watch either the originals or the upcoming?
Anything with Keanu, I'm enticed to watch. I don't care if it's old. I don't care if it's new. I don't care if it's speed. I don't care if it's whatever. It's always good. I love Keanu Reeves. And this is a funny concept where they're just dumb. They're stoners. I assume they're stoners.
They're like Valley guys. They don't ever explicitly say like, oh, we're all smoking weed and shit.
But they're like just chilling guys like Keanu.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. But they're probably stoners. But yeah, no, this looks like it's going to be one of those weird, wacky adventures that I could definitely get behind.
Yep. So I'm in for it. I like the originals. I remember a long time ago, Pizza Hut was doing like movies if you ordered a pizza, and it was like, classics that were probably at the time 10 years old, and that was my first foray into Bill and Ted. So
quick question. Trivia question. When did Bill and Ted first air?
I don't know. I'm literally Googling it right now, so I assume you have the answer.
1989. Beep. Anything that's before then, I've an excuse to have not seen it, especially if it's a cult classic.
Have you seen me that you watched Gone with the Wind?
Yeah, not the original. I watched the one with what's his face, Kevin Costner.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
There's one from like 1934 or something like that. That was, I don't know. Have you guys seen Point Break? Did you guys like Point Break?
Yeah.
Keanu
Great
movie.
Can you tell? But just like fires his gun into the air, like
amazing.
One of my favorite scenes from the movie Hot Fuzz. Where he's like a dumb bored cop, and everything he does is based on an action movie that he's seen. So yeah, that's good stuff. Let's move on a little bit. Mark, you finished season 1 of Doom Patrol, right?
No, I have like 2 more episodes.
I mean, it's so good. I loved it.
Where do you watch that? Is that on DC?
It was, and now the second season is going to be on HBO Max. So they're not making it easy to watch, is what I'm saying.
Right.
I thought it was really good. It's just like dumb, campy, but also kind of heartfelt. And basically, this is just me having an excuse to bring up Doom Patrol one more time. So this is coming out June 25th. The crew got all together like in the first season. It's kind of Avengers if they were all dumb and had kind of weird, not that great powers. And now the second season is going to be them fighting Niles Calder's daughter. Niles Calder's like the guy who brought them all together. His daughter Dorothy, who is one of the most powerful DC characters. Basically, she can just turn her things that she imagines into real life, which obviously is a pretty dope superpower.
No shit.
And also, she's a little girl. So there you go.
And she looks like an ape.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Is that a comic thing, or is that just something they were doing for the TV show to be weird?
No, I don't know much about her in comics, but I'm pretty sure she was made in a lab. Niles like made her somehow.
That tracks, yeah.
Doing some weird shit, but yeah, she's combined with, I think, a primate. I don't know.
This trailer made me want to go and watch the first season. That's what this trailer did for me. I don't know where I'm going to find it because I'm not going to get the DC. Is the DC streaming service even a thing still, or?
It is for now. I'm guessing it won't be for very long.
Cool. No. Okay. And will they bring the first season to HBO Max, you think?
That's a great question. I would assume that if they're going to buy the rights to it, we've got a story to get into about that later. There's some weird shit going on between DC and HBO, and I don't know. We'll have to talk through that. But
yeah, it seems like it would make sense to have the first season available on HBO Max. But if it doesn't, then it seems like it would lose some of the audience, unless this can be a standalone by itself. Which there's a
lot of lore that you need to know about these characters before you get into it. So I think it's necessary for you to actually see season 1.
Okay.
While we're at it, though, more movie trailers. Did you guys watch Archive, which is basically Black Mirror and Ex Machina, probably?
Yeah, it's very sci-fi.
I can't tell what's going on with this, but it was enjoyable to watch the trailer, and also this was originally slated to air, to be screened at South by Southwest, and it had a decent amount of buzz back before a virus came and ruined our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something like you would see a trailer for, and it would have the leaves around, like in Beth.
Yes, Sundance shit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. This looks pretty good. So.
I'm into it. It's the classic love story between a guy who loses his wife, makes his wife a robot, and then gets out of hand. It's a classic story.
I feel like that's been done to death at this point.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't see like there was anything specifically new about it, but you said what is the Black Mirror portion of it? You said it looks like Black Mirror. Or it's a Black Mirror-esque.
The story is just kind of like Charlie Brooker a little bit to me.
Okay. Yeah, no, I got that. I got that dark vibe.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about that. So at this point,
the Theo James guy, the main character, he looks like a hybrid of James Franco and that dude from 50 Shades of Grey.
never seen it.
50 Shades of Grey? All right, whatever. But he looks like James Franco, in my opinion.
Rick is watching that right now, and I can see it, the reflection in his glasses. He's just got big butts bouncing in front of him.
You didn't watch the trailer, Brick?
No, I did. I was looking. That reminded me of Love, Death, and Robots, and I was wondering if they were going to come out with a second season of that.
We need more Love, Death, and Robots.
And it just says there's an article here: Love, Death, and Robots season 2 release date, cast, plot, and what we can expect from 1 day ago. Could be fake news.
Sounds like fake news. It sounds like clickbait, where they tell you like it's like every other month there's an article out like, oh, the Office reunion is happening and here's when, and then you get to the bottom of the article and it just says, we don't have a date for this yet and it's probably not going to happen, but we already got your clicks, so go fuck yourself.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, sick.
At this point though, Rick, we had the PS5 conference this week. I don't know if there's a name for it or anything. Literally the only thing I cared about during this, well, there were two things. One was going to be, tell me how much it's going to cost, and they didn't do that. And two was Spider-Man Miles Morales. So there's a lot of consternation right now about whether or not it's going to be a standalone, actual like full length game, or whether it's a spin-off / DLC type thing for the original Spider-Man game that came out 2 years ago.
It's going to be a standalone. Insomniac Games just tweeted that they would provide more details, but they said it was going to be a standalone game in a tweet like 2 days ago.
Brick, before I kick this to you, Mark, the reason why I don't like, even if that is true, I think that it's probably going to be a very short. Think about it. You only had 2 years to put this game together since the release of the last one. That is not enough time to make a full scale AAA game.
So you think they're going to reuse a lot of the Spider-Man?
Well, let's think about it, because it's going to be set in New York. They already have the character design of Miles Morales because they introduced him in the original.
They already have the map, presumably, for the most
That's
part.
kind of what I'm thinking is like, yeah, you probably got to scale it up some and remaster it a bit. But I'm really torn as to what to think. Brick, what have you been hearing?
I basically the same stuff that you have. I bought Spider-Man without having a PlayStation available. I just was playing it on my brother had I guess a PlayStation 4 for a while, but then I was playing it on Starkey's Xbox or PlayStation as well. It's like that game alone made me want to almost buy a PlayStation, but I knew it was already 5 years into the making, 6 years in the making. I knew a PS5 was coming. My problem with I guess the PlayStation itself is like, for that kind of money that the rumor is it's $600 or $700 and including tax.
Yeah.
Including tax, you're looking at close to $800, which is like, just get a PC that's going to be better than the PlayStation. That's my thinking behind it. Of course, that not everyone can get that, but also if you're going to be splurging on a PlayStation 5, save up $200 more and get an X or a PC that you can use for multiple different other things, rather than having the 13 games that they announced at launch. Whatever.
Then you're not going to be able to play, exclusives. You're not going to be able to play, say, The Last of Us, which comes out on Tuesday. That's never going to get ported to PC.
Right, and the exclusives are the only thing that really are what make the difference between the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the PC, because everything is becoming cross-play nowadays. I mean, Xbox and PC are basically, they're one and the same at one point in terms of exclusives and releases, because they're kind of teaming up, I guess, more or less, with some of the downloads and ways you can access those games. But it's really going to come down to the exclusives, and I'm surprised that they are giving The Last of Us 2 I guess I'm not surprised that it's on both gens, but I think if they had left it exclusively to PlayStation 5s, they'd be selling a lot more of those systems right off the bat.
Yeah, it's possible. Or you go the opposite direction, which is basically their big announcement that GTA 5 is coming to PS5.
God.
So that's 3 generations of consoles.
That's so bad.
The one thing I will say, though, is that they said when PS5 drops, it will be available free for anybody who has one. So, okay, I get it. But they're still going to do in-game purchases and shit like that. So I don't know.
What go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm over GTA 5. Give me a new GTA. It's been how many years? I mean, they gave us a Red Dead, 2 years ago, maybe?
Year and a half.
Yeah, I guess a year and a half because it was like a late November, October drop.
Yeah. What do you think
that's
Rockstar's next game is? Do you think it's another GTA, or are they going to do
gonna be
like
GTA 6.
Bully 2?
I would love to see a
game forever.
Yeah, Bully's been that's been like 2011 or something like that. Maybe even longer, honestly. But what other games do they have?
Did they do the
Red Dead,
the Def Jam fights where it's like you would fight each other as a rapper?
Def Jam Vendetta. That game was raw as hell. I loved that game. They had it where if you were kicking ass, like the song would be bumping even more, and you're just like DMX, like X don't give it to you. What? Kicking ass.
Yeah, they really only have like 3 main franchise titles, but they're always way over the top, huge sellers, so they always kick it out of the park.
Always. But it's been so long.
Smithers, you having played and finishing Spider-Man, Brick, I don't know, have you finished Spider-Man as well?
Yeah.
What different villains would you want to see specifically related to like Miles Morales? Do you want to see like a callback to Into the Spider-Verse and see the Prowler, his uncle that became the villain or whatever it was? Or do you want to see like Chameleon or?
Well,
Chameleon
they do
actually appear in the game.
Oh, he did? Okay.
If memory serves. It's been a couple
years.
years.
They were.
Play that again.
It was the Sinister Six was the main core there in terms of the villains, which is what Rhino, Electro.
They've gone in and out of the Six. Like it's always Doc Ock,
right?
Vulture.
I don't remember a Venom or a Carnage being involved in any of the Spider-Mans that have been of late.
And that's typically more of a Peter Parker thing than it is Miles Morales, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't do it.
What about Kraven the Hunter?
That
I haven't seen him.
He's kind of a dated character though. Like he's just a really good hunter and he's got a gun.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like everything in the Spider-Man universe right now is like tech based, and he'd be the opposite of that. Not to say that they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting. And also Miles Morales has had a different rogues gallery, if you will, Mark, than Peter Parker in the past. Obviously, Miles Morales originally was never mind. I was thinking of 2099, which is not Miles Morales.
Miles Morales has had showdowns with like Sandman. I know he's had a showdown with Kraven the Hunter, even though that was a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah. So I mean, look, you got plenty to choose from, and there's literally nothing binding you to this. When they did Into the Spider-Verse, they were basically like, let's just add some new characters or gender swap somebody or whatever else. So
and nobody huge as
Doc Ock has to be a woman or has to be a man. Yeah.
Right.
As long as you make a good character, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. So I looked up right now, it just says top 5 Spider-Man villains for Miles Morales. Prowler's number 1. Symbiote is number 2, which is Venom, apparently. So I guess they do have some sort of run, at least in the Marvel comics. Sandman, Kraven the Hunter, and then Chameleon. And was Chameleon in the game we played?
I could swear that he was, and like he basically just turned invisible.
I don't recall him being in there. He might have been
new character specifically for the game, like the girl who was like the Instagram influencer who was always trying to kill everybody.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah,
they do a good job with side characters too, like Taskmaster and all these other things that you can kind of makes you want to do like 100% completion for the game because there's just so many different cool side stories that they have.
Was the Lizard in the Spider-Man game?
Yes, man.
I don't think it was.
I guess I need to go replay it.
Yeah, I know Scorpion was definitely one of them, the guys, but it was all mechanical for the most part. I mean, it's fine. Kind of would like to see them go back to the like superheroes or super villains and stuff where they're actual like
mutants and shit.
Mutants and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like we've had a lot of Spider-Man iterations where it's only been, like mechanical robots and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Even in the Spider-Man universe where it's in Marvel, they're all mainly like Illusions, Mysterio, and like Vulture was like a mechanical being, more or less.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because Spider-Man himself is a mutated human.
Right.
Why can't you just have more characters like that?
Exactly. That's why I think I'd like to see them go back to that kind of realm, if you will.
Brick, what else happened at the PS conference that interests you, if anything?
The system itself. I've seen some good memes on the system, the way it looks for the most part. It looks like a kid, like one of those like Eastern European kids who has like popped collar going to like a club. Yeah, like I don't know. It just the last PlayStation I had was PS2, PlayStation 3 and 4. I was like, I'm going to switch to an Xbox guy because it's more or less who you play with rather than the titles themselves for me, or at least it was. Now I'm a PC guy, so it didn't really. I was over it. I was like, I already have a PC. I'm never going to buy a PlayStation.
I guess I agree, but I think, in my opinion, the exclusives are better for PlayStation. I love Halo. Don't get me wrong; that's like all-time franchise for me. But even now, you can still get that on PC a couple years later.
Agreed. And I agree with you. The exclusives for PlayStation are, I think, leagues ahead. Because the last couple of Halo iterations have been kind of trash, in my opinion.
Yeah, a little bit. Even when they released the Master Chief Collection, which was supposed to be everything, it was broken from launch, and the online didn't work.
So broken. Yeah, it probably barely works now.
Everybody says that they fixed everything, and at this point, like, I'm not going to go back and replay it. I already bought it and sold it because it sucked. Like, you have one chance to catch somebody's attention before they're just like, well, this sucked.
I guess one other thing that kind of caught my attention was Hitman 3. Hitman 3, I love the Hitman franchise. Ave Maria, banger. But just having that...
It's exclusive, though, right?
It's a third-party game, so I don't think it is going to be exclusive, but they did show it and, I guess feature it from that conference itself. But I'm all about Hitman, Agent 47. I want to go back and play the second one. I might have to go buy that, honestly.
Did you guys Absolution?
I did download Absolution, but I think Xbox 360. I think I'm already over it. I started doing the franchise once it got to the next generation, and I loved it. The other ones were like convoluted. I might have been just too young to like really understand how to play the mechanics well. But
fuck that.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, did you guys see the mock-ups that Boss Logic was doing on Instagram for the PS5? Like exclusive designs. He did this Pikachu one, and I was like, damn, that would be fucking sick.
The Pokeballs. I love that.
How do you end up with a Pokemon branded PlayStation? Like, that's,
I don't know. If there's a Miles Morales one that just has like, it's black with the red webbing and like a cool ass design, I might have to get my hands on one.
That was honestly probably the tipping point for me buying the PS4 Pro. Is I bought the Spider-Man version, and it's just, I love it.
Yeah,
it's just very cool looking. So
if there's a Batman one, you have to get it just for your collection.
Yeah, and the way it's designed. I mean, look at the ear. Like this works perfectly with the Pikachu ears. This would be perfect for a Batman exclusive design.
You were thinking about that immediately when you saw it. You're
immediately,
like 1,000%.
Are you mad that Rocksteady's not doing the next Batman game? If there even is a next Arkham game?
Who is WB would do it?
I don't know who's going to do it, actually. Supposedly, we were supposed to get an announcement probably a while ago. There were a lot of rumors about some Canadian game dev studio that was going to release a trailer. Now they're saying that Rocksteady's possibly doing another DC game, but it wouldn't be Batman. And the rumor has long been it's going to be a Superman.
Metropolis would be really cool.
It would be, but man, they've tried this before, and Superman games have traditionally just sucked.
Yeah,
Superman in general,
tank and nothing kills you, and I don't know.
Superman has a lot of cool villains, though. I'd love to see like a fucking like standoff with Brainiac. That would be fucking cool.
You're probably the only one, but I'd play it, but whatever. All right, let's more news points. Mark, I want to kind of kick this to you because unfortunately Denny O'Neil passed away this week.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar. Could you opine for a moment if you don't mind?
Yeah, so Denny O'Neil did a bunch of Green Lantern, Green Arrow as well. I obviously know him mainly from Batman. He actually did one of the most iconic. So Neil Adams drew Batman 251, which is this cover right here, which I actually own. It's my prized possession. And this was kind of the turning point from the Golden Age and Silver Age, really campy Batman shit. And it was the same for the villains. All the villains were really campy. Your Joker was just like a glorified prankster. He wasn't killing people. He wasn't known as like a complete psychopath and came from Arkham, all that kind of stuff. So Denny O'Neil kind of just turned the page and fucking redid all the rogues. He created Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul. He created those two characters. And frankly, he kind of just, he pretty much just took Joker and Two-Face and made them completely different characters than what we saw in the Golden Age and Silver Age comics. And it was the jumping off point for Bronze Age, essentially. And Denny O'Neil was a staple in that. So
I can't remember where I was reading it, but somebody was saying he's the reason why we have the dark and brooding Batman as opposed to the guy who loved flamboyant capes.
Yeah.
Pretty apt. You know, he turned it from the Adam West really campy stuff to the dark brooding dickhead that Mark wishes he could be.
Yeah. I mean, he did that for pretty much all the characters that came into the Batman universe, all the villains, everyone. He completely redid them, and Neil Adams did a great job redesigning a lot of them as well, like the Joker. So
technically, can't we also blame him for like Batman versus Superman though?
What do you mean blame him for Batman versus Superman?
Super dark, unable to have a good time at all movies where it's, you know, DC has to be super dark all the time and have a dark blue filter over everything.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, Frank Miller came along and did very similar stuff, you know.
Frank Miller was way after Denny O'Neil though.
Yeah.
Denny O'Neil was first for sure.
Even though Frank Miller looks like he's 1,000 years old right now.
How old is Frank Miller?
He's got to be like mid 70s.
Miller age. I would. He's only 63, even though he's the fucking skeleton.
Shit, I thought he was like 75.
Other old comic guys, Alan Moore, who just looks like a wizard.
What I'll also mention is people forget that the Joker, he pretty much, Denny O'Neil reintroduced the Joker in some aspect. The Joker kind of wasn't even existent in the Silver Age comics. He was very campy in Golden Age, and he really wasn't used throughout fucking the 15 years or whatever that Silver Age was. So people think Joker was always in the Batman comics. He wasn't, because he was a super lame, campy prankster character. And Denny O'Neil,
Cesar Romero in the Adam West show.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, he giggled and painted over his mustache and shit. It was very weird. You actually kind of look like Cesar Romero right now, Mark.
I do.
How many eras were there, and are they going in reverse between like time? Like, so the gold era was like the original kind of run of comic books.
Yeah,
silver is like the second iterations. Bronze is like how they're like more or less today, or is it?
Yeah, Golden Age was like when comics started, late 1930s, 38, whatever, up until 1950, and then Silver Age was like the mid 50s to the 70s, and then this is where Denny O'Neil came in. I think he started like right when the Bronze Age was starting, from 70 to about 85, and then it's Modern Age, which is 85 to now. So,
what's your favorite era?
It would either be Bronze Age or Modern Era.
Just because of the sheer amount of content?
Yeah.
Or is
it's Golden Age is fun to read. Like, I wouldn't say fun. I would say funny to read. Like, they did a lot of shit with like Nazis, and it was super campy. There's a whole book I have that you might be interested in, Brick. It's called Batman the War Years, and it's a bunch of Golden Age. I think there's some Silver Age in there, but it was all of the like war influences like Hitler and everything that were brought into comic books, and kind of what they did with them in Batman comics. And Superman did it as well. But yeah, the Golden Age stuff was just really super campy and kind of ridiculous, but also it's kind of funny to see what comics used to be like way back when.
Did they use a lot of that for propaganda then? Like actual propaganda? Or is it more like they're just using...
Think about Captain America.
Yeah.
Right.
Captain America, if he's not pure propaganda.
Good point.
Superman was the same thing, really. Like, you know,
red, white, and blue.
Kansas, and he's like the typical farm story or whatever it is. So yeah,
He's your everyday man.
but back then everything was propaganda. Not that it isn't now. It's just everything was a little less direct.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for the crash course, and thank you for covering. I heard a dog barking and a baby crying, so I just assumed that everything was terrible. But
Sounds all right.
Yeah. Let's keep going with the news. So, can anybody explain to me the difference between all these HBO services, or are they all the same fucking thing, or what? Because
HBO HBO Now and HBO Go are pretty much the same thing. HBO Go is just for the cable subscribers. HBO Now is only for like the online subscribers.
But
so
they're
HBO
providing
Now
the same.
is going away, and they're just going to call it HBO. No, sorry, HBO Go is going away, and HBO Now is just going to be called HBO. Then we're going to have HBO Max. So what I was alluding to earlier with when we were talking about Doom Patrol is people were noticing that there's a section of movies on HBO Max. It's like Last Chance, watch it before it goes away, and a lot of DC movies were in this, which didn't make sense because everybody was saying like this was going to be the new haven for DC. They had the rights for all these movies, and apparently what they're saying is that they're going to rotate them in and out as opposed to having them at all times, which doesn't seem to make sense to me. It seems like you would want all of the content for as long as you could have it. So it makes me think that there's some kind of contract dispute going on, and I don't know what the fuck is going on there.
Well, didn't they already sign a contract more or less and get it all sorted? That was probably part of the contract where they have to rotate in, just like they do with Netflix and what they did with Marvel. Like Netflix and Marvel had before. They didn't have all of the content right away. They want to have some stuff stored, I guess. I don't know, keep it fresh.
Technically, Warner owns HBO, so they're kind of the same company, which makes even less sense. And I understand that you license properties out to other companies. Like, it's the same thing why Sony owns Spider-Man as opposed to Disney, who owns Marvel. Like, they had a licensing deal out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Netflix, if they don't make any Daredevil themed content, I think in the next 6 months or a year, the rights for that character revert back to Disney because you have to keep making those properties. Otherwise, the deal's null and void. It's the same thing with Fantastic Four, which is why we got the 2016 shitty Josh Trank film, because they had to churn something out immediately. Fox had to, but now obviously Disney owns Fox, so it doesn't matter anymore. I don't even remember what I was talking about.
Could this be something about trying to keep the DC service alive?
If it is, that's a piss poor attempt. I think honestly, the only thing that's keeping the DC streaming service alive right now are one, the Harley Quinn show, and two, the comics, the actual comic access. I have Mark's login. Like, we split the first year, and I couldn't tell you the last time I even opened the app.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think DC Universe might end up becoming something like Marvel Unlimited, where they're going to move all their shows over to HBO Max, and they're just going to have a bunch of comics. They might still do like they do the DC Universe daily show with some like social media influencer people that do the show, and they just talk comics and everything happening in the DC Universe. But I don't think they're going to start putting out a bunch more shows on DC Universe. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, Doom Patrol was one of their big selling points, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
So, and isn't Titans going to HBO Max too?
Mm-hmm.
So
that could be why they want to. That's probably why they collaborated with HBO, was because they have the studios that they can use their properties to make proper shows.
It could be, and HBO is making a few DC shows in the future, so we'll see how that goes.
I mean, they already had Watchmen. Wasn't Watchmen a DC property or no?
Technically, Watchmen was a property that was acquired by DC, so yes, it is technically DC. So I don't know how the rights would have gone for that, because it wasn't originally produced by Warner, like the movie. I don't think it was a Warner movie. Mark,
Okay.
do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
No.
Well, either way, there's some weird shit going on, and none of this is enough to get me to pay for HBO Max. I have too many streaming services as it is.
So I was reading an article about this earlier today, and the biggest takeaways for me, and this is pretty interesting because I log into HBO through an Xfinity cable account. Even though I have Hulu Live, I just didn't add it onto there. I just still do it through Xfinity. according to this article, cable TV subscribers who have HBO included in their bundle, so if you're logging into HBO Go, will now have access to the new HBO Max. And this will make HBO Go pointless for most people. For that reason, HBO Go will be discontinued on July 31st. So according to this article, it sounds like if you have a HBO Go through a cable provider, you're going to be getting HBO Max.
I wonder how that
Isn't weird?
Because I get HBO through Amazon Prime.
So another interesting thing is Warner Media hasn't signed a deal to offer HBO Max on Roku or Amazon Fire Stick devices, which I'm like, well, how the fuck are people going to be watching this? Are they really going to be logging on?
The other thing, you can get it through Hulu. It's an add-on on Hulu.
Okay.
So if you have Hulu, but then you have to have Hulu, which is available on.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, this is what I'm worried about with all these streaming services.
Convoluted as hell.
Seriously, like who can keep all this bullshit straight? Like we talk about this weekly, and I don't even fucking know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we watch shows all the time, and I haven't even attempted. I actually, you know what? Hulu logged out on accident for me, and I was like, I popped on Hulu, and I was like, oh, I have to log in. Fuck Hulu. I just didn't even log in. I was over it. Sometimes
That's
it takes
easy content is to access now, which is scary.
So now I'm wondering, like, for Xfinity, I don't know what I'm paying right now for HBO. I should probably look. But do you think that means that HBO Max is either the same price as people are paying through a cable provider like Xfinity, or are they going to end up raising the price of HBO through a cable provider until it's at the HBO Max price point?
To me, that would be the smart move, considering all the cord cutter. Like, think of all the people that are on the verge of cutting the cord.
Yeah.
Which is just slang for not having cable anymore. And this would be the tipping point for them. And if HBO is available, there's your in.
Yeah.
I feel like it's only homeowners are the people that are paying for cable. Once you move out of a place, you're just like, oh, I have to get internet and cable again. Might as well just get the internet, because cable.
I haven't had cable for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Cable's dumb.
Cable's dumb. Cable's trash. Fuck cable. Streaming services all the way.
All right. Before I move on, I wanted to mention this before I forget. Brick, did you watch Chappelle's new half hour on YouTube?
I did.
I just wanted to throw this out there. If you haven't heard yet, he released a special called 846. If you're going looking for a Chappelle comedy show, this isn't really it, but I will heavily recommend it. I think it's very impassioned. It's very powerful. He's incredibly articulate in everything that he says, as he always has been. It just, I don't know. It kind of spoke to me on a different level than anybody else that's been saying it right now. So I don't know how you felt about it.
He's got the gift of gab, and people listen to him because, he is more or less, he's like the everyday man to a certain degree of like perspective. But he brings it up in like an elegant way, and he also does throw in some jabs of humor throughout the show. But it's not a comedy show.
No.
But I thought it was brilliantly done. It was definitely worth the 28 minutes that it is on YouTube. Go check it out if you haven't. Absolutely.
He's the only person I can think of that can be that eloquent and also call Candace Owens the C word at the same time.
Yeah, I also got some pussy jokes. It's just like, goddamn, he's brilliant. He's just a brilliant man. Knows how to talk about even social issues, which he's done throughout his comedy specials throughout the years too. But he's always put a very, funny spin on a lot of these things. But this one does have a little more of a serious tone to it, which, I mean, obviously because of the climate we have now, it warranted it.
And the Don Lemon bit where he's like, so Don Lemon is a CNN talking head, and he was like, why aren't celebrities talking about this? And Dave Chappelle's like, man, I've been talking. You are not watching anything that I do if you think that I haven't been talking about this. And it's
for years.
Pretty on the nose. So
anyway, they're talking.
Yeah.
I love Chappelle because I just think of him as like an independent thinker. He's not moving, he's not leaning right, leaning left. Like, you could tell, like, these are just his thoughts and this is his opinion on things, and it's not politically or socially
one way or the other.
Yeah. He's just, this is what I think, and he's very good, like you said, at articulating his opinions on things. And
he's an actual genius. And sometimes he uses his genius to talk about dick jokes, and sometimes he uses it to talk about social issues. And I will always respect anything that he says. So that digression over. Last bit of news, I promise. So Tenet is moving back to July 31st for a release date, presumably because they don't know when theaters are really going to open or what they're going to look like when they actually do open. In its place, which was originally going to be July 17th, they're going to re-release Inception in theaters where available. Presumably,
no one's going to go see that
in theaters here. I won't go. I won't go to the theater to watch that.
That's so stupid.
Whatever. Maybe some people will just be so excited to go back to a theater that they'll go watch Inception. Who fucking knows?
If we're not the people, the people that go to theaters for fun every week, if we're not clamoring to be, oh yeah, no one's gonna go.
That's
dumb
fair.
idea.
Maybe I'll feel differently when everything opens back up and I can actually get out of the fucking house. But we'll see.
Slow.
The other implications of this, though, this is pushing Wonder Woman back to October, which is a month later than their original release, presumably because they want to space out their theatrical releases. Matrix 4 is moving back a full year from 2021 to 2022. And then Godzilla versus King Kong is going to take Matrix 4's slot, which is in 2021 April, I believe. So all this shit is just shuffling around. I know that production's been shut down and stuff for a long time, but there had to be so much stuff that was already in the can and done that's now been edited. I'm just really looking for something good to look forward to in a movie theater, and I'm not seeing any of that so far.
I think we're getting the dark age now. I mean, obviously things aren't going to be in production for a while still, but I agree with you that they have some stuff in the can, but also they're pushing that back. So like by that time where they are going to be able to go back and record, hopefully, or film the stuff, that they space it out evenly. So it's just like, we won't have the summer blockbusters that are hit after hit after hit every week. But I think because of the spacing out, we will have something to look forward to at least once a month where we'll actually have a good movie. Again, This is me thinking optimistically, but it is what it is.
Man, I hope you're right.
Yep. I'm never. So,
Mark, is that your baby crying or mine?
My baby.
That's my baby.
All right. Let's see.
Best.
We the best!
Worst.
The worst! She's the worst person in the world. Huge skank. Terrible, but thank you.
Nolan just found out they're not doing an Arkham Knight game again.
Oh, man. He's been crying for a long time.
Yeah. It's very
How long
sad.
do you think it'll be before you introduce him to video games?
3 months, maybe. Just sit him down. I'm like, all right, Nolan, I'm in the gulag right now. Just watch this shit. Just get it worked.
Right?
He's already,
Money back from a prostitute.
Yeah.
GTA is going to be the first game he used the GTA 5 on his PlayStation 5 that's GTA themed.
I mean, I've been wondering, my niece just turned 4, and I have a Switch, and it has a bunch of Mario games on it. I feel like I should just introduce her and be like, this is what's good. Put your Barbies away. Let's play Mario.
That wouldn't. I'm trying to think of the first time that I played a video game. I think I was pretty young because, Vince Vaughn's sister gave me Super Nintendo.
Echo the Dolphin, Sega Genesis.
Yeah, Sega was a banger. My dad had one of those Sega Genesises in his work where he had it looked like an arcade machine, but it had a Sega in it, which was sick. It was like Sonic themed. So I was always a Sonic. Sonic was my OG. But Vince Vaughn's sister gave me Super Nintendo. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Honestly. Can't think of anything before that. And I don't know. I was like 6 years old and my house got broken into and they stole my Super Nintendo and they stole all of my games except for my sister's The Little Mermaid cartridge. So
dark days, dude.
But then the insurance money bought me a Sega. So here we are.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, now here. Yeah.
All right, I've got the best man alive, and this guy's name is. Sorry, I'm trying to figure this up. His name is Forrest Fenn. Okay, and he's an 89-year-old art and antiques dealer who is living in New Mexico, and basically he wrote memoirs, and in his memoir, he spoke of a treasure that he hid in the Rocky Mountains, and he was extremely vague about it. And this treasure hunt's been going on for like 20 10 years. Sorry. It first announced in 2010 that he had hidden an estimated $1 to $2 million worth of antiques, gold nuggets, and ancient artifacts in the box. So he only said originally that it was in the Rocky Mountains, north of New Mexico, south of Canada, somewhere above 500 feet of elevation, which is not narrowing it down very much.
Right.
But supposedly this week, somebody found this treasure and they sent him pictures and everything. And he's verifying it now. He's talking to ABC News and he's saying now that somebody found it. The chest is 20 pounds and everything inside of it is another 22 pounds. The other fucked up part of this is that this is only what's known, but it's known that at least 5 people have died while searching for this treasure.
Oh my God.
One guy fell off a 500-foot cliff. Another guy didn't have the supplies that he needed and froze to death. There's some really fucked up stuff going on here. There's some controversy right now because the guy who found it doesn't want his name to be released, which I understand. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't want people to know that I won the lottery. But people are saying that he's faking this. This 89-year-old man is faking it. I want to believe it. I think that it's true. But to me, this is endlessly interesting. If I didn't have any responsibility or something like this, and somebody was like, "There's a treasure hidden in the Rocky Mountains," it's like, "Fuck yeah, let's go find this treasure." That'd be awesome. So, Forrest Fenn, you are my best man alive this week. Thank you for putting something out there. Wait, is this terrible? If 5 people died, is that terrible, or is that not on him?
No, that's not on him. That's just if you're gonna die, if you're to go for it, you know the risks involved. I would imagine if you're to go treasure hunting in the wilderness, you got to expect some sort of danger involved. There's no liability forms. But yeah.
Okay. His quote when asked, "How do you feel that now that it's over?" He said, "I feel halfway kind of glad, halfway kind of sad because the chase is over." And I feel like this is just this is wholesome. This is like City Slickers, like the Legend of Curly's Gold. Something about this just warms my heart. I can't really explain it. So, Forrest Fenn, you are my best man alive of the week.
Yeah, we need another movie like The Rat Race.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Right?
In that,
what was that? I didn't hear it.
Wasn't Mr. Bean in that movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
The throwback.
All right, who's got a best man alive?
I have a best man alive. There was a Canadian conservation officer that was fired a few years back after refusing to kill 2 baby cubs. So he finally won his legal battle against Canada for firing him for I guess it was the town of Columbia, the Colombian town of Port Hardy. I'm sorry. There was a female black bear rummaging through a freezer of meat and some salmon. He unfortunately had to kill the black bear, the mother, but he refused to kill the 2 cubs that were around the area, but they were not obviously they were not taking the garbage or anything like that. So he took them over to the vets, and then after a while, they were actually released back into the wild. But he got fired because he didn't kill the remaining 2 bears. He won his legal battle, and now he has gone to peace, and now I think he might be getting his job back, but probably not. But either way,
he also sued them for enough money that he doesn't.
He's probably good. Yeah, but I think that's a good move on his part to well, I'm not going to kill these baby bears if they're just baby bears. They're just doing things. It sucks that he had to kill the mom, but
yeah, that's
probably the Canadian portion of it.
Kill a bear for doing bear shit,
Exactly. Sorry, you left your meat freezer outside. No,
that's tough. It's like when a few weeks ago when that alligator ate that stupid woman who climbed into his swamp and shot the alligator. Yeah, if you do stuff in front of an alligator's going to do alligator shit.
Stupid things win stupid prizes.
Yeah, it's aggravating. Mark, who is your best man alive?
So I had to do a little more research because it actually is 2 Italian inmates. And I wanted to make sure before I gave them the best dad alive award, they weren't murderers or anything. They only committed fraud and they're supposed to be in jail till 2029. So besides financial stress,
he's not even in jail.
Yeah. Besides just maybe some financial stress put upon some people. I mean, it is what it is. So this guy, Davad Zukanik, and Lil Amitovic. Both were in jail till 2029, and they actually broke out from prison in Rome and left behind an interesting note for the jailer in which they promised to return and surrender themselves into police custody after resolving the problems being faced by their children. So they left a note and it said, "We need to protect our children from some nasty business they have gotten themselves into." So best dad alive right there. Best dads alive. Just fucking breaking out of prison to take care of business for their kids and then coming back, you know.
Also being responsible enough to be like, we'll be back.
Yeah.
We know we're still in jail.
Super responsible
we got
dads.
shit we gotta deal with. This is just they're like dad strength, dad power. Just gotta figure it out.
2 questions. One, did they actually go back to jail?
I think they're coming back eventually. Who knows what that is?
Also, it'd be hilarious if they just like lied. They're just like, we'll be back. Nope.
We'll be back. Just give us a week.
Trust us. We're actual criminals. We'll be back.
So they're returning. They're going to return in 14 days because when this article was written yesterday, it says here they vowed to return within 15 days after resolving all issues with their families. So
they're not coming back. No
we'll look into this in 2 weeks.
This will be a 2-week notice, please.
I'm taking note right now.
Yeah, please keep this up. Keep us updated on the Ultra Dads. This is dad movie. I think we need a dad to dad segment. It's just best dad.
I would break out of prison for my son.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But the other question I had is like, what kind of trouble were their kids in? Like, what?
I don't know.
Hopefully that comes to light.
Maybe we'll find out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, like, are they?
They're gonna have to explain themselves.
Well, yeah, but not really, because they'll just go back to prison, and it's prison.
Hold on.
The world is like Italy, where they have prisons where they actually reform people. With the U.S., you just get locked up and you stay there forever
because of just corporate greed.
Dude,
yeah, Mark.
Props to these guys too for just the ultimate dad escape move. They scaled the walls using a water hose in the courtyard. Just like
that is honestly, dude, that's a Mission Impossible type shit. I'm with you though. That's no life.
That's Uber meets Mission Impossible. God knows, let's get out of here, bro.
Dude, such dads. They probably took the responsibility in the jailhouse of like watering the lawn every morning, and they're like, "Yo, we're about to just fucking toss this over."
Oh, our kids are in trouble. Here we go.
We just need to go out for batteries.
Yeah, in Italy.
Oh fuck. That's not. It's been so long since I've used these drops that I don't remember what these are. Let me.
Full team back.
Back in business. Pele.
That's a full trailer. I don't know why is that even in there?
What trailer?
Yeah, I need to clean some of this stuff out. It's this one.
The guy is drunk.
That's still usable. We'll keep that one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Very much so.
Anyways, on to our review of the week, which is The King of Staten Island. So we actually had a few movies that we could review this week, which is good because that means we have content for upcoming weeks.
Rare.
We also had Defy Bloods that released on Netflix, and we also had Artemis Fowl that came out on Disney Plus. So
ooh.
I think next week will probably be Defy Bloods because that seems interesting to me, and I know you guys have already watched it. So we'll keep you up on that.
If we want the Points Master to watch a terrible movie, we should have them watch Artemis Fowl, because I went to a bunch of YouTube movie review channels, and they were all giving the movie like an F or fucking yeah. And right now I think it's sitting at like a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's bad. I mean,
10%.
It is like a kid's movie. It's supposed to be a kid's movie.
10%.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was 10%. Audience score is 22.
That's still pretty bad.
Yep.
Speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, though, The King of Staten Island currently at 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, 90% from fans. Okay, yeah. So if you don't know what this movie is, this is basically a indirect biography of Pete Davidson. It's loosely based on the story of Pete Davidson. So he wrote this with a friend of his by the name of Dave Cyrus. This was a screenplay that was adapted by Judd Apatow, who then directed the movie, and also his daughter is in the movie. It's Pete Davidson's sister. That's Maud Apatow.
She was one of my favorite characters, actually. I think she was like she played a good role in there.
Mm-hmm. She was real, which
Yeah.
If you hear like director's daughter, that's not what you think. You think like, oh, nepotism. She got this job because her dad's the director, but
Exactly.
she was believable. She did a lot of yelling and screaming. She was very, very New York. So,
Yeah.
that was good.
And yeah, Judd Apatow, he was on Pardon My Take last week, and he did an interview with the fellows there, and he was explaining how he would like during dinner and during all he would like throw out scenes that she would have to kind of act out, which is like, so she's just been practicing her whole life. And he was also saying that the only time like working with his family on set is like the only time he actually has like power. In the house, he's like a piece of shit. You don't even listen to him at all. But on set, he finally has the power to actually make him do things that they need to do, as like a dad, but also as a director. But I thought that was kind of interesting.
So as I mentioned, this is semi-biographical of Pete Davidson. He plays a guy named Scott Carlin, who's a 24-year-old Staten Island kid who his father dies in a fire. He's a firefighter. And in real life, Pete Davidson's father died as a first responder during 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there's some parallels there. He's got a little bit of, I don't know what you would call it, like maybe bipolar or dissociative disorder, which I kind of wish they had delved more into, but also, it was already 2 hours long. There's some stuff.
17 minutes.
Yeah. So we'll get to that later maybe, but he's basically kind of a burnout. His sister is graduating high school, going off to college, and he's just kind of stuck at home. He's talking about opening a restaurant where you can also get tattoos while you eat, which is the worst fucking idea I've ever heard.
Terrible.
Very dumb. But he has a run-in with Bill Burr, or Bill Burr's son, I should say, which brings Bill Burr to his house where he meets his mother, who's played by Marissa Tomei. They hit it off and end up dating, blah, blah, blah. Shit goes down. And I think from then on, we probably won't get any more plot points because that'd be spoilery. That said, I fucking love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this Friday night with my wife.
My wife, thank you.
And we both watched it. And the entire time we were both thinking like, wow, Pete Davidson seems like a real piece of shit. And by the end, you're like, fuck, maybe he just got dealt a bad hand and has to deal with some shitty things and
no, he's still a big old piece of shit, but like
he is.
It's just people from Staten Island kind of suck. It just seemed like that was kind of the movie premise. But at the same time, like Judd Apatow was saying in that interview, it was funny things happen kind of from character growth by showing how big of a piece of shit somebody is in the beginning makes comedy happen throughout the entire movie, but also kind of helps build characters by having them grow. So him messing around with I don't want to do spoilers, but I guess him giving a tattoo to a minor in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. I guess it's not really it is, but it's not really a spoiler. It's like, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. Even his friend that was like a piece of shit Staten Island guy was like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. You can't give consent. He's 10 years old. Like, what are you doing? It's just, you're a piece of it's one of those things that I think they did a really good job having. The bad tattoos, I think, were a funny kind of route to take throughout the entire movie. He's like this tattoo artist who sucks at giving tattoos, but also he's like, apparently he's good at drawing, but he's terrible at giving tattoos. Some of the tattoo art was good, but I think the characters that they had in this movie, like Marissa Tomei and Bill Burr's relationship, I believed right away. Marissa Tomei was so cute and so likable throughout the entire movie, for the most part.
Though she's so good,
she's so goddamn good. That her and Bill Burr's relationship, I loved that. I thought it was fantastic. And then there were moments I have in my notes just cringe, just like baseball game cringe, and I just have cringe, college cringe. Oh, it's like that's all I could put is that it made me feel a lot in this movie from the different scenes. I was reacting. I wasn't just sitting there going through the motions. I was like in the movie. I was like, I felt it, which is a good sign of a good movie.
Mark,
also, the soundtrack was fantastic.
It was just a bunch of Kid Cudi.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
yeah,
Pete Davidson loves Kid Cudi.
For us.
Yeah, Pete Davidson is obsessed with Kid Cudi. So
yeah.
All right, Mark, what did you think?
Judd Apatow, just the way he can tell a story and make it just like the relationships people have, and because he does a lot of his screenplay. So the way that he conveys and has these actors have a conversation, it's even if they're just having a conversation, you're fully invested and interested in what's going on. So I think like the realism aspect of these problems that these characters are faced with, that's what I love about Judd Apatow's work the most. The way he shoots his scenes and the way he has all these actors talking to each other and expressing their emotions. I think he does it better than a lot of the directors and screenplay writers out there right now. As for acting wise, I think Pete Davidson is a really good actor. I thought he did a great job in this. Same thing with Bill Burr. He definitely has been really taking acting classes probably the last 10 years since Breaking Bad or whatever it was. He was fine in that, but geez, his acting is fucking really good as well. And he's known for just being a comedian. So it was great to see him really dive into a role where we get to see a lot of him in.
I think that Bill Burr is a good actor when he has to be super pissed off, because that's who he is as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He was perfectly cast for this role.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy to see him in this. I hope I see him in a lot more stuff. I love Bill Burr. His comedy is hilarious. I'm here for it.
His stash was so good. It was a power stash.
And it's not just that, it was like the perfect New York firefighter stash.
Oh, no question.
So,
yeah. The female cast too was great. Marissa Tomei, like you said, Belle Prowley was Kelsey, who was Scott Pete Davidson's characters. Their
love interest.
They had, his love interests. Of course, you got to have Machine Gun Kelly in this because he's BFFs with Pete Davidson, and it was fine. His little cameo he had in there, I knew it was coming no matter what. But there was just a lot of characters that stuck with you. His friend group was great too. Those were some of the funniest banter throughout the movie, especially with Igor and his girlfriend.
Igor is the kid from Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah,
pointing that out to me, and I was like, holy fuck. So yeah, totally. Plus some of the other cameos that were in there. There was Jimmy Tatro shows up as one of the firefighters with a really bad mustache, kind of looks like Mark.
Yeah, my favorite cameo was Action Bronson though.
Yes. Oh my god, when he shows up after he's been shot. Oh my god. Holy fuck, it's Action Bronson.
I loved that. I loved that.
Fucking bleeding everywhere.
Between that and Steve Buscemi showing up, I love Steve Buscemi. Like, I know that he's a weird looking guy and everything, but you know, he was also a volunteer firefighter for a really long time. He was, suited up and responded during 9/11 when he was needed and everything like that. So that's a cool story there. Mark, you were talking about Judd Apatow and how this is kind of how he developed characters like this, and I agree with you. But I think that this is, at least in my opinion, different than anything else that he's ever done, because most of his other characters are super over the top, and this is just kind of a realistic storytelling. And I don't know if because of Pete Davidson and because he wrote the script for this, or if Judd was just like, maybe let's tone it down a little bit. We're not going to do 40-year-old version. We're not going to do Dewey Cox, Walk Hard, whatever. And I thought it was, because of that, it was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you mentioned that you wish they would have dived in a little bit more into Pete Davidson's his mental illness, all that kind of stuff, I actually liked what they did in the fact that it was just shown through Pete's actions. Like the first scene in the movie, you can tell that he's expressing how he's suicidal, and he actually talks to his sister about it at one point. But the fact that you don't need him to have this big opening up moment about his mental illness, because there's people out there who just don't want to talk about it, and that's how they are, and they'll just make little comments here or there about killing themselves or whatever, and it really affects the people around it. So I like that aspect where you knew Pete Davidson's characters had all these underlying issues with mental illness, etc. And they were just exposed by his actions and the quick little things he would say to people. You just knew that there was a bigger underlying issue and revolved around his dad dying and things like that really bothered him. But the way he just couldn't really express how he was feeling, I actually kind of liked how they did that. And at the end, he opened up more to his girlfriend, but that wasn't until the last 5 minutes of the movie. But I did like that.
I did think that some of the scenes in here were kind of unnecessary, though. The one that comes to mind for me first is the robbery. I guess it just I didn't really feel like it added anything to the story. Maybe you guys disagree, and you can, obviously speak up. Yeah. It seemed tonally like it didn't make sense, and it doesn't change the way he feels or acts. So
I think it just shows how big of a piece of shit. Like, there was a point where he doesn't want to do it, obviously, for obvious reasons. He doesn't want to rob a pharmacy. And for me, I was torn between, is he gonna do it or is he not? Because is this guy, how big of a piece of shit is he? And is he growing as a character? And so I liked that scene. It did add some, it kind of, I thought, layers in for me about his character. If he's, what route in life is he going to take? Is he going to take this shitty route where he's going to rob a pharmacy to get drugs to sell? Or is he going to actually try and turn his life around? Because it was kind of a pivotal moment where, he could go either way. And so I thought, I don't think it deterred from the movie. I liked that scene. It was intense too. I think it invested me into the character, and everyone knows you don't want to fucking rob a convenience store or a pharmacy. It's like, don't be a fucking idiot. Don't be an idiot. I was like repeating that, and then it just, things happen, I
get what you're saying, but I don't feel like that was the turning point for him at all. I don't think it was even close. Like, there's a confrontation that he has later in the movie where I think that was the turning point, and that this didn't teach him anything. So that was my issue with it. The other scene, which I felt just wasn't necessary and they could have done something better with, was his interaction with Bill Burr's ex-wife. That's
true. I was over the ex-wife situation.
Like, it's not a perfect movie, but I still really like it. So please don't take this as me shitting all over this movie.
I will say, without the robbery, it wouldn't have led to the reveal about the catfish situation with Igor. And that was one of my favorite moments in the whole fucking movie. When they're like, look over there.
Yeah. Mark, do you have anything else to say about this before we wrap up?
This is a must-see for this year. This is like one of those movies when I used to buy Blu-rays, I would have bought this on Blu-ray. It's like in the super bad and, that kind of category for me. It's one of those movies I can sit down and watch with whoever hasn't seen it before, and I'll enjoy just watching it with somebody,
I do think I need to rewatch it. I don't know that it's on super bad level, like from a comedy standpoint.
I agree.
It's much more heartfelt. I'll give you that. Rick, what do you think?
I think it is like a true blend of a comedy drama. There was great levity throughout it, but it also, again, pulled at your heartstrings. I mean, they did a good job with the relationships, and I thought the character arcs in this whole movie were fantastic for me. Also, I liked the fact that they played Your Hand in Mine during that firefighter montage or firefighter scene. I was like, here we go. It goes back to the soundtrack. But
from Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, buddy.
In the sky. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely must watch.
That's kind of a cop-out, man. But if you think about it, you could put explosions in the sky in any scene. It's going to give you chills. You're just like, it could be someone slow-mo sitting on a toilet about to take a huge dookie. And you're just like getting chills watching it. Like, this is sick.
I used to, when I had my virtual reality working, I put on a chilling championship playlist where I'd play the NFL like history songs, and then I also threw in explosions in the sky, and I was just like throwing darts out there, just darts and dimes, just people catching. It was fantastic. Now my VR's broken, so kill myself. Sorry.
I love you.
Thank you.
Wow, I love you and thank you. Minus point. All right, yeah, this is an absolutely see it for me. I can't say that it's going to win an Oscar or whatever, or that it's the best movie of the year, but I don't care. Like, it was so heartfelt, and it not to be cliche, but it pulls on your heartstrings a little bit. Like, you feel for everyone involved, not just Pete Davidson's character. You feel for his mom and the way that she reacts to certain things, and you understand it, even if some of it feels a bit harsh. It just, Bill Burr the same way, and his sister, who's really struggling to deal with her brother who is manic. It's heavy, but it's funny at the same time. So absolutely see this. I think it's a must watch.
Quickly, speaking of Breaking Bad, or not Breaking Bad, Super Bad, Kevin Corrigan's in it. The guy, he's the restaurant owner that Pete Davidson works at.
Yeah.
He's the guy in Super Bad that's like, where his girlfriend had the period blood. And she's like, fuck him up, Mark. Shut the fuck up, Scarlett. Just like, he knocks him out and
He's
shit.
great. He's great.
All right. So I think that's a ringing endorsement from all of us. So let's move on to our recommendations for the week. Let me kick this off with something that is starting in 2 hours and 55 minutes, and that is Long Gone Summer, which is the 30 for 30 that's going to cover the 1998 MLB season and the home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa.
Slam and Sammy.
Ken Griffey Jr. If any of you can tell me who came in third that season in home runs, I will give you 10 points and you will automatically win.
Jeff Bagwell.
Oh, fuck. I was going to say Jeff Bagwell, but it wasn't him, so I won't say that.
Who was it? Fuck.
No, it's not. Hang on. 98. 98. Barry Bonds. No.
Greg Vaughn.
Yeah, okay.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah,
I got a trivia question for you, too.
What's up?
Who is the 10th highest running back paid of all time?
Deion Sanders.
Who?
Did you say Deion Sanders?
Yeah. No.
I know that you're not points master, but I demand points for him saying Deion Sanders.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you one clue.
10th highest paid. I'm going to say Frank Gore.
No. Jonathan Stewart.
What?
The Carolina Panthers.
He's not even in the league anymore, is he?
He's 31. I think he's on the Giants. But dude, he's made $51 million or something like that. I think he's going to get overpassed probably here pretty soon by some other running backs. But still, him being the 10th highest running back of all time is insane to me because he's never started more than double digit. He's started double digit games.
Injury.
He started double digit games 3 times in the 10 seasons that he's been in the league, and he's the 10th highest running back paid in NFL history. So
I mean, this is like the shit we talk about with Matt Stafford in our Discord. Like, he's a product of the generation in which he plays.
Yes,
he's highly paid because he's currently playing and he has longevity in his career. So
he was also a number 1 pick before they had that cap on there too.
Exactly. So if you were drafted prior to 2011, I think that means that you were not. Like Sam Bradford got drafted before that, and he had like a $40 million contract.
Buku bucks.
I digress.
Yes.
Mark, what do you recommend this week?
I'm watching Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. He's it's Phil Rosenthal. He, I think, was the creator of Everyone Loves Raymond. I'm not gonna lie, he's a goof. He's really everything is very over the top, like all of his reactions, but it's actually, he goes to every single episode. It's him going to a different city and eating the food there. It's a good Netflix food show. And I know a lot of people are into that kind of stuff. So I'd check it out if you want.
I almost asked Erica what her shows I should watch for cooking, because all of a sudden I'm a cook now. I cook food all the time. So now I was going to ask her what shows she binges, but I didn't know if he was. I didn't know he was the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond. Of course, I'm going to watch that, especially because those graphics that they have always look so magnificent.
He's kind of annoying, to be honest. I've seen him on other things. I haven't watched this show. Maybe you'll like him. Maybe he's more endearing if you sit down and he's not doing a bit or whatever. But he just seems kind of annoying.
Yeah, every bite he takes, he's like he'll just make the dumbest expression. You're just like,
That's
okay, dude, relax.
Like every was like, oh, like Guy Fieri, like out of bounds.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's only so many things you can describe words with. But my favorite character in that show was Robert, his depressed older brother. So maybe I don't know.
Did that guy die? He died, right?
No.
He's got a comedy club out in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah. He's a big time stand-up dude. So.
Speaking of food, Brick, you need to really step your food game up. I heard Krisky, one of the biggest foodies from our friend group, is moving out to Colorado. Isn't that right?
Ooh, who'd you hear that from?
I heard something.
Yeah, I convinced him.
What,
You're just trying to get everybody to transplant out there.
why
I
is
am.
this supposed to be a secret? Why'd you say, ooh, who'd you hear that from? I'm like, did you even know about this?
Yeah, no, I don't know. He wanted to tell
Keep-
other people. I'm not the one who wants to. He wants to do it. I don't know. Big move on his part. No one listens to our podcast anyway, so who cares?
Yeah. Nobody will know. Maybe in a couple months when somebody stumbles upon it.
Yeah.
After you moved. Brick, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is gonna be Defy Bloods, because it's a long movie. I split it up into 2 different parts. I had to run an errand mid show, but it's about the Vietnam War, and it's honestly fantastic. And I think we're going to review it next week, so I won't get too far into it.
More specifically, it is about Black Vietnam War veterans, and
Correct.
it's a Spike Lee movie, and it kind of delves into how they deal
Spike
with
the joint.
going back to Vietnam, and their experience specifically as Black GIs. So
It's a great overall movie. The characters, some of the characters in there are very well, acted out, and they also have some of the most intense scenes I've seen in a movie in a long time. So, something to look forward to, something to watch.
all right.
They do not hold back from the first 5 minutes. You will be like, "Ugh, what is going on?" They do not hold back. They do not hold back.
That's
Some
Spike Lee.
disturbing stuff. Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so let's wrap this up then. We're already running a little bit long. Thanks for tuning in to episode 199. Guess what, guys? Next week is 200.
Jiminy Crickets.
Does not show up.
When did I jump on here? Episode 29?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look through the archives.
That's
4 years ago.
wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. As always, you can find us on all social media platforms at the Chumpcast. You can also call or text us 847-920-6107. Check out our Twitch and YouTube channels for our D&D campaign.
Hell
Thanks
yeah.
for tuning into that. I feel like we're getting a pretty decent following, and honestly, it's just a good time. So,
Hell
sick.
yeah.
And until next time.
Jumps out, motherfucker.
Peace.
Peace.